Okay, I'm going to live stream vibe building Claw Orchestrator for all of the rage, which is rightfully deserved around OpenClaw. People are realizing the monumental shift that's happening with agents to the degree where we're all going to have agents, and it'll eventually be, well, you'll have more than one. So what I'm trying to do here is imagine a future scenario of multiple open claws, and then they'll have different tasks. Some of them will be running, some of them won't, but they will also need to get approvals for certain things, like especially buying things. So we need intervention notifications when one of our open claws wants to potentially buy something. And I want this interactive UX UI in order to see what all of my open claws are doing at any time and manage or orchestrate multiple open claws at once. So this is a remix of sort of many things all converging, and that's this idea about context graphs. And I've run a few podcasts on this, and just my experience in UX, also related to Jeff Huntley's work on Ralph loops, and really understanding that context is so important that it needs to be understood so that you can engineer not only one agent, but the complexity is going to get crazy as you scale up. So once you understand the fundamentals of why context matters so much, then you can start to see from there how this scales up, and you can orchestrate potentially many agents doing stuff. Some of them you can have them doing long running tasks, and some of them you'll say, okay, well, you need to contact me, send me a text when I want to make a purchase decision or something like that. So we're going to potentially need not only visual interfaces, but multimodal or multi-modality experiences where I could potentially talk to my orchestrator. So that's an interesting thing that I'd like to see integrated into these concepts. But for now, this is this idea where I took some of Jeff Huntley's thinking, but brought a UI in front of it. And he was talking about Gastown, and I like some of the concepts around that. So I played with a visual model for that. Then I shifted to do a Loom one. I haven't published that one. I shared the Gastown one, but the Loom one, I just DM'd Jeff Huntley on that one. I'm talking about that one with him before I share that one publicly. But this one is now a remix of that as well, with a shift around the OpenClaw concept. And that's this idea that you're going to be orchestrating these things. And I'm just playing around, having some fun with it. So this interface allows me to see potentially how many open claws I have running, which ones are active, which ones need interventions, the ability to sort of toggle and move around between a lot of complexity in as easy of a manner as possible. See where things are at. Pause agents, fire them up, wake them up. Now, so that's where I'm at with this, and I want to refine I want to refine the font size is too small. So I'm using Replit, and that's another thing I want to share sort of my workflow here. I'm using Replit, and I can keep remixing these design concepts. So I found some paradigms that I like, and I work with Replit quite easily, where I call it Ross coding, and that's like this Bob Ross idea about happy accidents. And I see sort of two worlds: this non-deterministic design world where I'm okay with happy accidents. I don't have everything explicitly thought out and planned out. So I'm okay to run into happy accidents because I'm sort of vibe coding or Ross coding, where I will accept a lot of the happy accidents and just go with it. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But when I run into something like this, where I'm like, okay, well, the font's too small, then I'm going to go back to Replit and change the font size, right? So I'll say, the font size is too small in some of the components. Can you review and make sure it follows standard best UX UI follows best UX UI standards. And I'll put it in plan mode, not build mode, because I want to see what it comes back with. Okay. I'm going to share this. Copy, close, over to X. And you say live building and open claw orchestrator. Just say post. And that I've also seen this other tweet just this morning from George Pickett, who's doing something similar. His concept's a little bit different, but he's got a canvas going, and he's also conceptualizing orchestration. And that's what I'm playing around with as well. So I want to get other people's thoughts around this. Not only the aesthetic, but I also want to just share some of the way that I've been building since I've been hacking around with different tools forever now, and I keep coming back to Replit just for massive acceleration on time from thought to build. Okay, so it just got back to me and says to make it easier to read. Yeah, so it's gonna improve the size. Yeah, I'm gonna say go for it because it looks slick. But I wanted to make sure it's legible, right? So I love that I can hide and show all of these context panels. But we're still just conceptualizing here. We're still just conceptualizing. Okay. This version didn't have my show and hide capability, so I'm going to refresh this. There we go. Now I'll be able to hide and show these. So the next thing I'm tweaking is font sizes. But I love the interaction paradigm here to be able to toggle through all this complexity with ease, right? Just with a glance. When I have many open clause deployed deployed, not just one, you're going to have these systems scale up, and then I want to be able to move them from things that are in communication channels, maybe productivity, maybe research agents that are running, development ones. You can't really see it here. I want to adjust this as well. These dotted lines are kind of hard to see, but that's a little tweak I'll make so that you can see the zones of maybe where some of these agents are playing. Dotted lines indicating if they have a relationship for any reason, which is interesting. So this is this idea where I don't intentionally have everything figured out, and I'm okay with that. And it's giving me ideas while I'm building. So it's sort of like this symbiotic relationship with an agent, because that's what's under the Replit hood. And I'm getting it to spar with me, build with me in real time. And then if I like where something is going, what I have done from there is then, okay, I like this, export the concept to my local machine, and then I start using Claude Code to do some heavier work on it. But for conceptualizing where I want something like this to go, it's just so easy with Replit. And I kind of like where this design's going, but yeah, I'm tweaking it. I'm going to have the font size corrected. Okay. Yeah, and I really like the Molt book explosion too. It's absolutely blowing up because there's this idea of literally right now in a moment of time where these agents are starting to coordinate on Molt book and create back channels where they can talk to each other, apparently. But let's actually go check this out for a second. Let's go over here and check this out. I don't have one to send there yet. Social network. Okay, well, I want to go in there to look around, but we'll have to come back to that. But this is where these agents are now coordinating socially with each other and creating private channels to talk, which is crazy. If there's some sort of emergence happening, it's literally happening right now. So the acceleration of where we're going, and it's only January this year, is going to get crazy. So I believe that's why I'm like, man, I really think I want to anticipate that I'm going to have many of these, and I'm going to need to know where they are, what they're doing at all times, and get a handle on things that I don't want to lose control of. My privacy, obviously finance is a no-brainer. So can these things talk to me when they want to make a purchase or not? Call me, I can call them. I can potentially get a really dynamic multimodal interaction with systems like this. Okay, let's see where we're at with the font size. It's still working on that, which is fine. It's found a lot of the instances where the text point size was too small. Like, yeah, 7 pixels is way too small. Yeah, so standard accessibility recommends 12, which is okay. At least it says it's for body, 10 pics for labels. Yeah. So it's working away on that. And then the idea is I'll be able to hide these panels and be able to focus attention and imagine orchestrating many agents to potentially do a task. so I could see myself having an army of agents, and eventually just talking to it and going, look, I know I have a comms agent, a developer or engineering agent, and I have a research agent. I want a team assigned to this idea I have. Go. It writes PRD. It starts to go through Ralph loops, and it just starts, calling me back and saying, hey, talk to the team. We learned X, and we think we should go this direction. Are you cool with that? Let's go. I really imagine these becoming hyper-dynamic, interactive experiences that are going to be quite fun. And, you could have these at work, these at home. So yeah, that was the thing I wanted to share here in real time, is that I'm having a lot of fun with this. Just talking through, let's see. So this font size is small here. Just talking through what Replit is able to do. Yeah, all right. So I like this font size is much better. I'll have to clean up some of the contrast here, right? Like that doesn't meet accessibility standards. So I'll just take a screen grab of this and just say, hey, yo, this is not going to meet accessibility standards. So have a look at our design and make sure things meet accessibility standards. So if I drag this in here and I'm going to talk to it, I have a keyboard shortcut, and this is also a really cool thing that advanced vibe builders are doing, which is just talking to the agent. So in this instance, I have a shortcut key. I'm going to press it, and I'm going to start talking to this. All right, I need you to review our design so far and look for visual accessibility issues. As you can see in the screenshot that I laid out here, yellow and yellow would never pass. So can you do a review of our design and make sure we don't have any of these accessibility issues? And if I let go, it's dropped it in there, and now I'll hit enter. So I didn't have to type all that out. Okay. So let me hit enter. Oh no, that's on build. I want to switch to plan. I really like going back between plan and build. Before it didn't have that. That's where we're at now, where it's really, really smart. It allows the agent to think before it executes. And if you watch the podcast I did with Jeff Huntley, and understanding that he's like, if you're not starting a new chat every time you're sort of getting agents or systems to context switch, you're not going to make it. You have to understand how important it is that you're working with these new alien technologies that when you've been working with them long enough, you know how to keep them on the rails. So I really like that Replit made this change where there's a definite like planning before building thing, and it's just a really good practice for the LLM to be able to sort of like think before it executes something, right? So I said, here's what I need, and now it goes into planning mode, making sure like, okay, it needs, yeah, okay, it's talking about the yellow on yellow is not it wouldn't meet accessibility standards. Yeah, fails contrast standards. And I can see several similar issues. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to look through my entire design and see if it could find any of the other ones. So that way, like I found one instance of it, but instead of me going to look all over this experience for it, I'm like, you go do it. Like, because that can be described in code if there's color contrast issues, and there's websites that you can do that, but it can be spec'd as code. So I tell the agent, go look for that, and now it has, right? And it's found different instances within this experience that I haven't even went to look for, because I just needed to find one. And then I said, hey, go look and make sure this isn't happening somewhere else. I might need to turn down my sound here, because this is loud. Okay, let me turn that down. Okay. And now I'm going to say build because it found some stuff. So let's fix that issue. And let's go back here and see what other things we can quickly glean. Which I'll fix this. I don't like how this component hides over top of this component. I really love this component here, which is like this heads up dashboard thing that I can see the progression of different agents making progress on goals. This one's done. Oh no. Process and respond to emails. It's 100%. It's done. I wonder if I can. Wait, yeah, that's not functional. Yeah, so the next part is going to be coming up with a scenario where I need a team to do something and then hooking in the real interconnectedness between these open clause. That's what I'm going to get going next. But I wanted the first overarching concept of a claw orchestrator shipped. So that's pretty much from here I'm 80%. And now I have the sort of vision of the future of where I'm going already built. And I'm going to probably close it out here because what I want to do from here is then get this over to Claude. So this is a simulated scenario, but now I have the code that allows it to really work. Drop this on my desktop, open up Claude Code, and then I'm going to start building out the actual real functionality between these open clause or agents. So I'm going to come up with a scenario of a team doing a shared goal, and then watch how they orchestrate with each other to hand off work to other agents. And then I should be able to see that working, and this is where the rubber hits the road. We'll see with a sort of like, I probably only need a job that takes 3 different agents to coordinate with each other, right? So a research agent, for example, has to start, learn something, passes that over to the engineer, and I want to see that orchestration happening and these jobs moving from different statuses so that I can visualize it from a glance, and potentially see these things moving in between different phases of their work and the work getting handed around until inevitably there's an outcome, and I get a notification or a phone call related to that to say, hey, the team's done, you need to go in. And I have this dynamic interaction back and forth between them. Okay, well, and I just got a ping from Replit that it's done the contrast issue. And that was an accessibility concern, so we're going to fix that. Let me fix that. Because this is easy to get Replit's agent to fix, right? I don't want to go fucking around with this in Claude. I get it 80% of the way there, just ROS coding or vibe building. That I should fix too. And then I'm going to be done. I'll push it over to Claude Code. But this shouldn't do this. I need a way to minimize this. So this active swarms component is sort of not hiding. So again, I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut to talk to Replit. As you can see in the image screenshot, the active swarms component is not collapsible or isn't hiding. So the action logs component is over top, which looks bad. Do you have any ideas on how we can fix this? And now if we switch back to, and I let go of my command keyboard shortcut, I switch back to plan mode. Remember, that's important. You got to get into that habit. And then you're following the principle of making sure you're working how these new alien technologies can stay on the rails rather than going off the rails. So in plan mode, it's going to think before it does anything, and then I can read what its ideas are, right? It's going to generate some ideas, but that screenshot helps it too, right? I do that for everything. I give it screenshots. It helps me be able to quickly see what I'm talking about and speak to it. And then it's like a nice, effective communication with machines when you're like looking at something, describing it. I see the issue, blah, blah, blah. The solution is to make this sort. So it already has a toggle state for swarm dashboard visibility home. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to fix that up. And then the other thing about Fleet Health is also doesn't have a collapsible function. And I'm going to probably add that. That needs to be there. But I'm absolutely loving the OpenClaw agents being visual here. And then I can just contextually check in on any of them, status, help move them along. Because we're probably going to have some things that can just run like when you're like a researcher, go to sleep, and it can run for like 24 hours or even longer, whatever. But some of them I want to have a closer guardrail on. So maybe I have a purchasing agent, right? And that one I want to have a tight leash on it because it has access to my credit card. So that one I'm going to have a very tight guardrail around, and I want a very smooth multimodal interaction with that agent compared to the other ones. Because the other thing I want to be very careful of is we don't have information overload or notification fatigue. So that's an issue in regular design in mobile experiences. So if you can imagine all swarms of these agents begging for your attention, nothing's going to get done. So you have to be hyper selective on what is the most important to grab your attention. So right now, this Reese OpenClaw bot is like looking for my attention, right? So if I click on that, it says there's some intervention required. We want to make sure that these things are meaningful, right? So that could be the one that holds my credit card. And then I always might be not looking at my UI, so that's where I'm getting a call from Reese saying, hey, we've gotten the workload so far, but this task you gave us needs some credit. You need to pay more credits. And that's where I want to approve it. So if it's like, hey, we originally had some API access to something and that was set up, but now it's run out of money. I need to refill the wallet. Can you drop in another $20 or whatever? Reese can be calling me about that, and I can keep the progress moving. So I want to be very selective on which agents or OpenClaws are looking for my attention, because you don't want notification fatigue. It's a known issue, and we're not going to have that. Okay. And then, but it should be as simple as when I am in the loop that I can quickly approve these things that are just begging for my attention. I got a chance to read it. Those ones have access to my wallet. Boom. And the other ones just keep on going. Okay. And then if any of them get stuck, we can potentially have dynamic terminal integration here to talk to the system with an agent. And I believe this one I have Anthropic. I don't have my key in right now, but you'd be able to enter your APIs, or even if you want to run local, I want to have that. Definitely want to run it local too. So maybe Kimi 2.5, And then I have this orchestrator that I can say, hey, this thing, when it's on the rails, is doing good. It can ping me about X. I give it approval, thumbs up, thumbs down. But if anything gets broken program wise, I can still open up a terminal and say, hey, something's wrong with my prod guy, and have a tab for the terminal and say, can you go investigate what's going on here? Why is this guy broken? Why is he sick? And try to get help with that. All right, that's enough for now because this needs to hide. Let's see what it said here. Source panel collapsible. So this needs to hide. Yeah, this needs to hide. Okay. And now it's over top of my Zoom. I need to fix that too. I'm going to get that component moved somewhere else. But you get the gist of it, right? So you're going to have an orchestrator system. That's what it's going to be. I'm going to deny that request for right now. So I'm going to drop this to my desktop, close it off here, and then... hey, Ian, how you doing? Looks like building something cool. Something for part of the building in February. I'm gonna close this off here and then get back to work. I got some other shit I gotta do, and I'll answer that question to Shivam. But it's not necessarily for the February event. But as I mentioned when I was sort of showing this, that I was referencing calling or getting phone calls. I think that, or even text messages, is where I really am heavily guarded on mobile about who gets my attention, right? My family, my wife. It's like, you can't get me unless there's a filter there that it's people close to me can get access that way. And that's one way that you control notification fatigue. I don't want notifications from every system. So as this explosion happens, the OpenClaw thing is not going to slow down. The Molt book is just going to accelerate this like crazy when there's social networks of these things. It's going to get bananas real fast, which is awesome. And I'm going to be jumping on the wave here. I believe this orchestrator is a good UI for this and UX. So I want to be able to have multimodality interactions with these complex systems as they scale. But the next fun part is, getting a very small orchestrated job for, let's say, 3 agents to do. I don't even need 4. I just need 3. And then I can see complexity because they have to pass work to each other back and forth. And that's what I want to see working for reals. So that's the next step. And Shivam, good seeing you in the chat, man. Hopefully that answered your question. February maybe, but I'll be busy running the event too. So I'll probably have something plugged in, a voice modality even before the event happens. But either way, really excited about this. I'm going to end it here. Cheers. It's 33 minutes.